Our next candidate is Ms. Nydia Velasquez. Nydia.
Thank you so very much. I'm Congresswoman Nydia Velasquez, and I represent the current district that doesn't have Woodhaven, basically. But now, because of the census and reapportionment, you know, we lost 2 seats for New York, one downstate and one upstate. And so they have configured a new district, and if Woodhaven will be part of it, 7 congressional districts.
Give me 1 second, I just want to. There we go. There. Okay, there you go.
Thank you, Ed. Well, let me, since many of you do not know me, let me introduce myself to you formally. I am the first Puerto Rican woman to sit in the House of Representatives. I grew up in Puerto Rico. I graduated from high school when I was 16. I come from a family, a very poor family. No one can teach me about poverty and how to end the cycle of poverty. I know it. We were 9 children. I have a twin sister. And my father, who was a sugarcane cutter, he knew that the answer and the great equalizer for poor families in this country, and it has been the history of our great nation, has been education. And so my passion is to make sure that what was good for me should be good for everybody else. And coming June, there is going to be the expiration of student loans. Okay, the interest rate that we cut by half to make sure that college education is affordable for every student who wants to go on into college. And so we got to fight back to restore that. And you are so right.
You hear that, Chris?
Yeah. Okay, you are so right. Because what we are facing in this nation is not a budget deficit, but a revenue deficit. So if I come to you and say, look, I'm going to support the Ryan budget because it's going to cut $5.3 trillion in the budget in the next 10 years, 62% of that will come out of programs that are important, such as education, such as Medicare. They propose to cut Medicare by $200 billion, $205 billion. They are proposing to cut Medicaid by $800 billion. So, if you are a senior with Medicare, remember, under the Ryan bill, we are going to end Medicare as we know it. It's going to be privatized by giving you a voucher and telling you, this is the cap, go out into the private sector and buy your insurance. With total disregard if the insurance premiums will continue to skyrocket. So meaning that you have to pay, the beneficiaries will have to pay the difference between the government contribution and what is going to cost to you. I don't think it's fair. I think that we have to make sure that we balance the budget because we cannot bank the our children's future in terms of the deficit. We have to look at spending, and we have to look at those programs that are duplicative to make them more efficient, and then look at the structure of the tax cuts in this nation. To leave the Bush tax income is a total unfair solution for what the nation is facing. And we all know that. We just can't, at a time when the economy continues to struggle, we have to do what we did in the 1930s. We were facing one of the most difficult recessions. And what did the government do? Invested in transportation and infrastructure as a way to create jobs. Look at all the highways, the big projects, they came out of the recession. The problem that we're facing today is that compared to the 70s, 80s, and 90s recession, we are not creating the jobs that small businesses were able to create back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Why? Because of the financial crisis in Wall Street. And in order to get this economy growing, we need to create at least 200,000 jobs. We are doing that. It has been a steady job creation for the last year or 2 years, but still it's not enough. And the problem that the small business has been facing is the fact that they didn't create this crisis in the first case. It was Wall Street, the debacle in Wall Street. And by the way, I want you to know that back 10 years ago, when we voted to repeal Glass-Steagall, I voted against it. Because it was to tear down the wall that separated insurance from doing banking and banking from doing insurance. And that was the root cause that brought this economic crisis that we have been witnessing since 2008. So what I have done, I was the chair and the ranking member on the House Small Business Committee. Let me just say this. People are cynical and people are disillusioned. Why? Because here we have important challenges that we are facing as a nation. And instead of putting partisanship aside and work for the well-being of our nation, we just put out an ideological budget print that is a roadmap for the political trail, but it's not, it doesn't offer solutions to the real problems that we're facing. I have worked in a bipartisan way. As ranking member, when I have a chairman who was a Republican, Chairman Talent, my committee, and we made this agreement between the two of us. There's going to be disagreement, but we know that if we get this economy growing, the only way to do it is by providing the tools and creating a climate that was conducive for small businesses to do what they do best, and that is creating jobs. Under Chairman Talent, we reported out of my committee 26 bills. At a time when the political partisan was so high, we reported out 26 bills, and 20 of those became law. He was the chairman, I was the Democrat. But we understood that there is no Republican or Democratic approach to help small businesses. And when I became the chair, we reported out 30 bills. 20 of them became law. Now we have another chairman, because we are in the minority, but this chairman, who is a nice guy, Congressman Brave from Missouri, he's really a very nice person, and we have a great relationship. But the instructions that are coming down from the leadership is, don't move anything. Why? Because we have a president that represents the Democrats in the White House. And so, people do not want to move legislation because they don't want to give a victory to a president. That is not right. When we passed the Affordable Health Care Bill, we said we are going to change the way that we do business regarding health care, Medicare, Medicaid. Look, in the last year, we saved $4 billion under the new Affordable Care Act by identifying fraud. In fact, in Staten Island, people were arrested, right? Because there was this network of doctors combined and working with some people that...
I'm sorry, we're going to have to open the...
Okay, I'm sorry.
Can we change your battery here for a second?
Speak amongst yourselves for a moment.
Sorry, technical.
Let's see if this works. do you have any questions?
Okay, let me just conclude by saying one thing only. Let me just say, look, I want to work with you. I am a great listener, and I am a person who has gotten results for my district from providing and securing millions of dollars for affordable housing to protecting the environment, cleaning up the Gowanus Canal and Newtown Creek. Combined is $1 billion in federal resources to help clean it up. Building a greenway, money that I secure to connect entire families and provide open space and public access into the waterfront from Sunset Park, Red Hook, Columbia Street, Brooklyn Heights, Williamsburg, Greenpoint. And let me just thank all of you, Ed, Vance, all the members of the Woodhaven Residents Block Association. I know that this is voluntarism at its best, that you have dealt and you have used this organization to provide a voice into issues that are important to this community, from rezoning, preservation and landmark. It's important that you keep the integrity and character of this community, and I look forward to working with you to make sure that we improve the transportation and infrastructure of this community. Thank you very much.
Can you say your name again, please?
Nelia Velázquez. Yes. Yes.
I'd like to know why the government is still subsidizing the large oil corporations.
Yeah, yes. Well, look, last year in the budget, there was an amendment by Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro that I co-sponsored to tax those companies. Look, in this Ryan budget, if you are an oil company, you win. If you are a company that ship jobs overseas, you win. If you are an infant, you lose, because they are defunding the WIC program for poor women and poor children. And if you are a senior, you lose. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, hi. Not to make Mr. O'Connor feel like he's been signaled out, but I'll ask you a hard question too. Sure. On Jamaica Avenue, in the very beginning, we survived pretty well with our small businesses because we had a good mix and we had a bunch of people who did go to these businesses, but as the economy has done relatively poorly, we're starting to see now a bunch of small businesses close on our major commercial strip. You do represent a small portion of Woodhaven currently, yet we haven't really seen anything regarding the Small Business Administration come into our neighborhood to tell us how we can save these small businesses.
Well, we did a workshop for small businesses where we brought in the Small Business Administration and we brought traditional lenders. Let me say this. This past year, $500 million loan guarantees to New York City, okay? When banks were not lending, we passed ARA, the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. In that act, there were provisions that I authored to lower the fee paid by borrowers so that if they got a $2 million loan, instead of paying fees back to the government, to use that money to hire more people, to incentivize borrowers to get off the sideline and go and apply for those loans. We conducted and we analyzed the senior loan officers, the survey that the feds, they do every 3 quarters. Because the feds and the banks, the big banks, were telling us that they did not get applications, that small businesses were not applying for those loans. But the fact of the matter is, when you read in the papers that traditional banks were not lending, that discouraged the small business who want to grow their business and go and apply. So I lowered the fees, and we increased the amount of money that was lent and that was guaranteed by the federal government from 2 to 5 million, and for commercial loan from 5 million to 25. Manufacturing is back and is strong. Companies are coming back from South Asia, coming back to the United States, and that is one of the things that we need to do, is to close the tax loopholes that incentivize and reward companies that go and ship their jobs overseas.
Do we know how much of that is actually being requested by businesses in Queens and in Woodhaven specifically?
We have a bunch of, look, 35%, and I will provide you with the figures exactly from every business that is here, because we have 35% of all long-term financing loan that has taken place in this nation has been through the small business lending program. If you are a small business and you need working capital, you could apply for a 7A. If you are a small business who needs money for purchasing equipment or buy a building, it is the 504. Those are the small business lending programs that I've retooled, that I've revamped, and that I've modernized. We could come with Mr. Miller, Mike Miller, who has been very good at dealing with the issue of small businesses, and look, every 3 months we conduct workshops throughout the district, and you're going to see more of us here in Queens.
Thank
We
you.
have one last question here.
The representative for most of Woodhaven right now in Congress is Congressman Bob Turner.
Yes.
There's usually a representative from Mr. Turner's office at these meetings. That tends to be the case. If you're reelected, can you assure us that you will send a representative at our meetings
She
regularly?
will be here, Evelyn Cruz, very knowledgeable. People see her throughout my district in Queens, and they get tired of seeing her. But we will be here.
Great, thank you.